Hello there. Welcome to the Pastor Speak podcast. I'm your host, Aaron. And today I have with me Pastor Jonathan Locke.
Hello.
And our new Minister of Worship at the Antioch Campus, Micah Eastridge.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Awesome. Over the past few years, you guys have been thinking about a new Minister of Worship here at the Antioch Campus. And over the past year, we've had a heck of a search, I think.
It's been quite a time.
Yeah, quite a time.
Yes.
So maybe my first question is for you, Jonathan. What's that search process been like?
It was crazy. Number one, we used a search firm called Vanderbloemen, and so they did a lot of the work for us on the front end, and they would end up giving us candidates, and then we would either kind of look at their profile and say yeah, that seems like a great fit, or no, let's continue to look. But most of the candidates that we received, we ended up talking with. We'd have a Zoom conversation with them and kind of gave them from the get-go, this is who we are. We want to make sure that you know who we are first before you say, yes, I want to continue this process. And so we met with several candidates and would share, this is who we are. Do you feel like a good fit? Do you think you would work well with us? And then kind of put the ball back in their court. And then they would watch video of us or find out, is this a place that might be a good for us? And then kind of continue from there. So as far as the team, we kind of had five of us. It was Jeff Allen and John Thomas and Derek Lynch and John Holland and myself were kind of the group of elders that kind of were the initial front line of interviews and those types of things before we'd bring them to the whole elder body. And so that's kind of the process. I mean, there was a lot more to it, but I would take up the whole 30 minutes of our podcast explaining that.
So how did we end up finding Micah?
Well, same Vanderbloemen. Brought them to us. Yeah. Now, I don't know the whole Vanderbloemen side because they have a whole nother process of how they find their candidates. But Vanderbloemen, our lead guy there, said, hey, I think I've got a guy for you. And here he is. And so then we got a resume and a video and those different types of things. And then, we said, let's have this conversation. So
on my side of all of that was, I didn't apply to be at Blue Valley. Vanderbloemen had my resume in their database or however, and I got an email, I think it was like end of February, and with the opportunity, and they send me and attach the whole church profile that they compile, very detailed. And then I had a phone conversation just over the phone. It was about 15 minutes. That went really well. And then ended up speaking directly with the representative that worked with the church from Vanderbloemen. Had about a 2-hour Zoom call with him. And at the end of that Zoom call, I looked over at my wife, Becky, and said, oh my, this is something's very different about this opportunity. So and then we were passed on to talking directly with Derek and Jonathan and the rest of the team. So
very cool. Yeah. I was just wondering how that process was on the other side of it. So very cool. So Micah, thank you so much for being here and joining us on staff, but also here for the podcast. I wanted to give our listeners an opportunity to hear from you things about your call to ministry and stuff. So how did you come to be a worship leader? And tell us about that.
Yeah, I've been leading worship for about 16 years. I started when I was 13, and it just started with, we got a new youth pastor at my home church in South Mississippi, and he heard that I had a good voice, I could sing, and he played the guitar, and for his first Wednesday, we got together and did a few songs, and it ended up kind of being the same, 3 or 4 songs, I feel like, every other week.
That's solid student ministry.
The solid student ministry worship leading. But so we did that, and that kind of opened up the door for me to lead consistently. I mean, I grew up in church as a kid my whole life, and I had always been in like children's choir and things like that. So worship music and church music was always a very big part of my story and who I am. And getting those opportunities at a really formative age as a young teenager, it quickly became something I loved to do. And very early on, I kind of wrestled with a calling to ministry, and it was about 13 or 14 where I started feeling like, hey, I think God might be calling me to this. I had no idea what that meant. I blew it off and then lived like an idiot teenager, for some time. And it wasn't until my senior year of high school, we had a Disciple Now weekend, and the sermon on this particular night was about how Jesus called his disciples. And he said, and the scripture says that they left everything to follow him. And as a senior in high school, you're beginning to plan your future, where you're going to school, what you want to do, how am I going to make a living, everything. And the Lord pretty much was just, he spoke to me and said, leave all of that and follow me and serve me in this way. And so I said, okay, Lord. And it was terrifying. It's exactly what we did. And that's what I did. And that calling for me has been affirmed in an abundance of ways, but specifically with Becky, my wife. And when she was 16, the Lord had showed her that she was going to be married to a minister, a pastor of some capacity. Yeah. And so just our marriage and our callings just individually just affirm what God has been doing in our lives and in our marriage. So that's kind of a very quick synopsis of the calling to ministry for me.
What are some things that you've learned along the way that about worship ministry, and maybe even thinking about how that has prepared you for Blue Valley? Yeah,
absolutely. Worship ministry, music in particular, is something that everyone always has an opinion on, and that's never going to change. It doesn't matter what part of the country you go to. It doesn't matter if you're listening to country music, like old country or new country, or pop music. Music in general is always very a strong topic for people. And I learned really early on from my experience at my home church and getting to lead in several different other churches, and all the way up until I started at Blue Valley, that it's never about our preferences, but about the posture of our heart and how we are choosing to glorify God. Music is something that is truly a gift from the Lord. It connects our spirit to the Lord in a very different way. I don't really know how to describe that. That kind of might sound mystical in a sense, but I think that realizing that it's not about preferences, it's about our posture of our heart, has helped me be able to lead all people in worship, and not just about what the preferences I might have or anything like that. So that's one of the things. And also that at the end of the day, the musical instruments aren't going to last forever. Some of the songs might not last forever. I'm not going to last forever. What's going to last forever, what matters is the people, and whether or not we have an encounter with the Lord and trust and know the Lord and have a relationship with him. And so how we can use worship ministry in order to do that and lead people to be ready to hear from the Word of God is something that really, over my time in full-time ministry over the last 7 years, that the Lord's really, taught me and grown me in. And so the people matter, and caring for the people that you're leading in worship is more than, we're not just up there, singing right. to sing for just to sound good or look good or anything like that. It's caring for the people and making sure that they're ready to hear God's word.
Yeah. Very cool.
Thanks.
So you've spent about a month here, maybe 3 weeks? 3 Sundays?
This week, Wednesday makes a month since we moved.
Okay.
So yeah.
Very cool. What kind of things have you experienced or learned here at Blue Valley?
Yeah. So Blue Valley reminds me a lot of like the homey feel of my home church. Where you walk in, and this is what my wife and I prayed for. We prayed that when we got here, it would feel like home. And that's what Blue Valley feels like. When we came and interviewed, when we came for preview weekend, the Lord just constantly just reaffirmed that like these people feel like home and feel like family for us. And so we've experienced already just connecting with people, and it feels like we're drinking from a fire hydrant a little bit, just like with remembering people's names and all of that. But we're just so grateful for the people of Blue Valley, and some of the things that we've noticed. Like we love the fact that there's this library for the kids and everything. Like my mother-in-law came to church my first Sunday. They had helped us move up here, and she was almost in tears because she saw a church library, because you don't really see a lot of those anymore. And so those are a few just little things that have meant a lot to us. And the people, like I said, the people have just been so kind and welcoming, and genuinely are praying for us, and we know that and feel that.
Yeah, I echo that sentiment about the library. Man, Miss Faye and her team.
I know.
Good team.
It's Emma's favorite part of every Sunday.
Yeah. My kids have to go in and get a sucker every Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Mine too.
Maybe Sunday. A book.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, especially if there's a party involved.
That's right.
Man. So, Micah, tell me what motivates you to get up in the morning, especially early on Sunday mornings.
Yeah. If I'm being honest, I'm not a morning person. I'm a night owl. So Sundays have always been difficult. I kind of have a morning routine of during the week. I'm very close with my grandmother, and she's almost 86, and I call her every single day, usually on my way to work, to check in on her, all kind of stuff like that. And except on Sundays, even when I was living down in South Mississippi, I wouldn't call on Sundays usually. Sundays, spend a lot of time in the morning getting ready, just praying and focusing my heart on really leading people and making sure my heart is ready to lift up praise to the Lord and meet with the Lord, but also my heart's ready to lead people to do those things as well. So the motivation really is to be able to be ready to lead people in worship. And like I said, I'm not really a morning person right off the bat. I hit the snooze a good bit, but it's more than how I'm physically feeling, is more so the anticipation I have for what the Lord's going to do, and just being in His presence with our faith families.
Yeah, cool. Jonathan, same question.
Repeat the comment.
What motivates you to get up in the morning, especially early on a Sunday morning?
Yeah.
Well, I'm old now, so I don't sleep anymore. So no, I love Sunday mornings. Yeah. I mean, I love being together with the church. I love worshiping together. And it's kind of interesting because I get to be here when our worship team is practicing, kind of warming up for Sunday morning. And that ends up being kind of my time of worship.
Yeah.
Because, usually I'm running around the building while services are going on, and I catch the end of it or whatever may be happening. And so I truly do enjoy that rehearsal time where it's just, you know what, I'm going to sit there in the pew and I'm going to worship while they are rehearsing and warming up for the morning. And so Sunday mornings aren't hard for me to wake up just because my heart's ready. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to see God's people and be together with them. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That sounds very pastoral.
Yeah, but I think that
kind of cool.
Yeah, like really quick, right?
Yeah.
Through that one. You're like, oh, we're just talking about Micah right
now. That's right. It's all about Micah.
You want to ask me a question? Oh, no. Right. What was that? So back to Micah. What are some of the most challenging things about moving up here?
Yeah. For a lot of you who might not know, my wife and I grew up in Picayune, Mississippi, which is where we moved from. And all of our family is there, with the exception of my brother, who's in the Air Force and he's stationed overseas. But all of our family and extended family is all there. And so being away from our families has already proven to be a little difficult. It is kind of refreshing in a sense, because like Becky and I have to rely on each other in ways we've never had to do before. And, there's not just a go down to my mother-in-law's house who lived next door and who cooked an awesome dinner that we can just go bum dinner off of a little bit, So there's some really sweet family elements that we do miss, but where we're super grateful in that is we've already begun to build that community here at Blue Valley, and we're excited for that to continue to grow and to deepen. And for me, I'm not very good directionally, so figuring out where I'm going all the time has been fun. Thankfully,
Kansas City's in a grid.
It's the grid, man. It's
so
a grid. It's good for us directionally challenged. That's right. Yeah, I couldn't have told you that though. I'd have been like, what's good? Where are we going? Yeah. And Becky's great at it, so she always makes fun of me. But so that's been, a little challenging, and also for my kids, they were born in South Mississippi, and they're used to being by their grandparents and everything. Yeah. So our 4-year-old especially, her name's Emma, and this has been a hard transition for her. She understands a little bit more. She's had a few friends move away in the last, I guess, 8 months. And so it's hit her a little differently, but they're both adjusting well. And but those have been some of the challenges we have.
Yeah. What are some of the most exciting parts about moving up here?
Kind of all of those is where the challenges are also can be some of the exciting things, because Becky and I get to rely on each other and experience raising our family in a different way. We never moved away from Picayune even as adult until we moved here. So we were born there, raised there, everything. So we don't know what life is like, how we're living it. So we're very excited for that, and the Lord has taken our, worry over that and turned it into excitement and joy and anticipation for what is to come. And we're excited about getting to not be in the Bible Belt of the country, and really get to, because in South Mississippi, especially in the Bible Belt, you get a lot of Christians with air quotes, cultural Christianity, and we've already experienced that to not be the case here for the most part. Okay. I haven't had tons of interaction to really base that off of much, but people that we've encountered will be a little more upfront with you than about their faith or spirituality and things like that in general, rather than just the blanket "I'm a Christian" that you get a lot of in the South. And so we're excited just to be in a completely different culture and approach to a lot of that, and what that's going to do to reach lost people, and how we get to do that in a different way than we've ever really experienced.
Yep.
So. Yeah. Very cool. Well, what are you guys excited for? So, Micah, what are you excited for as far as the future of worship at Antioch? Mm-hmm. And Jonathan, I'll have you follow up with the same question. So, Micah, what are you excited for?
I'm excited about the fact that just getting to be here and work with such an established and strong worship ministry is a dream. Stuff like this. These types of opportunities don't come.
Shout out to John Holland.
Shout out to John Holland. Right. He's the actual man, and he's amazing. But the level of excellence that the worship ministry executes as a whole, that the shout out to Aaron, that the tech team, and literally everything that makes Sunday morning happen, to get to be a part of that is so humbling and amazing. And just to continue, I'm excited to continue to see that grow, and to continue to see us, reach people by what we're doing while we're also gathering together and lifting up praise to the Lord. How that's also appealing to people who maybe don't know the Lord, and God uses these moments to draw them closer to Him. So, I pray that that's always the case for the worship ministry, but, I'm excited about things like Advent and how huge that is here, and just to get to really learn who Blue Valley is, and get to build relationships with people. I'm a huge people person. Sometimes on Sundays it might be hard to see that I'm a people person because I'm so locked in on getting things done and accomplished and things, and especially since I've been here, it's like drinking from a fire hydrant. Yeah. So I'm where do I need to be at this time? I don't know. But getting to build relationships with people is something I'm super excited about, specifically within worship ministry, but yes, the church as a whole, and how those relationships are only going to strengthen the worship ministry and how we lead together.
John, what are you excited about for working with Micah, and what worship might look like at Antioch?
Yeah, I mean, worship's always been amazing here on the Antioch campus. I mean, even through our interim with Matt Swain.
Yeah.
did a fabulous job. And it's just, I'm just excited that it's just going to continue.
Yeah.
It's going to continue to be good, and it's going to continue to be God honoring.
Yeah.
Just knowing Micah's heart, and the more that I get to know him and hear his heart and his desire to really lead us to the throne. I mean, one of the things I know that I struggled with, you guys might not know, but I was a music minister.
Oh, yeah. Really?
At the early stages of my ministry.
Wow.
I was terrible, right? Just as Derek says, he was a terrible student pastor. I was terrible music guy. But the one thing that always frustrated me was when people would go, man, worship was really good today, or I didn't like worship today, and I'm kind of like, wait a second. I don't think the angels at the throne get tired of singing "Holy, Holy, Holy is the Lord God Almighty," right? They just don't get tired of it, right? And I don't think they, hey, I'm off shift today, man, that was terrible.
Yeah.
I really got bored. No, we're worshiping a holy God, and Micah's just going to continue that, and I mean, the song selection and all that is just to point us to the throne. And to lead us in worship. And so it's just exciting that we're going to continue to do that, and we're going to continue to stay focused on Christ. And it's not about the Micah show. Nope. And just watching him the last 3 weeks of going, man, you just lead us to the throne so well. And help us, take these songs and not just sing them. It's not just a performance. This is my heart. This is what I want to sing out. And every Sunday has just been amazing. And our people are singing, and it's fun to watch, and it's fun to see that, we're making that connection. And not that it didn't happen before.
No, absolutely.
I mean, John led us to the throne room, great, and Matt led us to the throne room, great, and all of our other worship ministry team when John was on sabbatical. I mean, it was always amazing. And so it's just neat to see that it's going to continue on, and I hope our people recognize that. And like Derek said a couple weeks ago, about worship being kind of this idol, of preference and stuff like that. It's like, man, we're going to continue to point our people that it's not about preference. It's not about style.
Absolutely.
It's, not about smoke and lights and, and or organ and piano. It's we are here to worship.
That's right.
And so that's going to continue on. I'm excited about that.
Yeah. I always tell people I have the best job in the world, because I get to see people have an encounter with the Lord as he's preparing their hearts for hearing his word being preached, and to see people have breakthrough and finally choose to surrender something to the Lord because of a lyric that touched their heart specifically, or something. It's the most incredible thing. It kind of goes back to what I said earlier about how music connects us on a spiritual level to an extent. It is the best job in the world to get to see people experience that and truly meet with the Lord. And that's all about the posture of the heart, and not over any specific one thing or the other, and it is the most amazing thing to be a part of. No matter anywhere you are, anywhere you lead worship, that is the best part.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, thanks guys for being here. To our listeners, if you have any questions about for Micah, maybe about your philosophy of worship, or how you and Becky got to know each other, feel free to ask him. Meet him sometime. Hang out with him.
Please do.
They always like lunch.
They like lunch.
I love lunch.
Lunch,
he likes
coffee.
food.
I like food. I like coffee.
The girls are amazing.
Yeah, our little girls are amazing.
At lunch. I mean, they just sit there and have fun. And so
good.
Vera will wear the lunch all over
That's
her.
just part of it.
Yeah.
It's just part of the process, right?
Oh, 100%.
So, to our listeners, go ask him about his, maybe more details about his philosophy of worship, about his life, about his wife. I didn't mean to rhyme there, but I was in trouble like a few words into that one. So, well, I gave our guys a task. They had to pick their favorite movie quote. And I did expand it out to TV shows.
Yeah.
So
For you.
for me,
I chose a TV show quote too.
Jonathan, favorite movie, quote,
Yeah.
and what movie is it from?
Well, right now I'm stuck in The Sandlot, which is an all-time great baseball movie.
Classic.
And it's a line that I've said to Andrew, my son who plays baseball, and it's, man, this is baseball. Stop thinking and just have fun.
Yeah.
And so that's just, but it could go on with the rest of your life too. Man, this is ministry.
Yeah.
Stop thinking, just have fun.
Yeah.
We miss out on that a lot of times. So
good.
that's probably my favorite. There are so many great parts in The Sandlot, and we talked about it
true.
earlier.
Yeah.
You were
That's
reading
true.
some earlier.
And the ones that I pointed out, I was like, man, those are really funny, but I'm not going to point those
I
out
don't
on
know
here.
that that's a church podcast.
Wisdom.
That's right.
Wisdom.
That's
There you
right.
go.
Micah?
So mine is a TV show quote. It's from the TV show New Girl. The character Schmidt and the character Cece are in their home for the first night, and they redid this home in kind of a rough-ish neighborhood, and they are in there, and their friends end up breaking through the window and to sneak into their house, and Schmidt, he shoots up out of the bed and goes, "Are you the criminals from the statistics?" And so anytime we hear like a weird noise around our house, I'll just randomly scream that.
Nice.
And it's one of my favorite things. It's dumb, but I love it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Those are great. So for me personally, big fan of The Office.
Yeah.
Kind of unfortunate sometimes when you watch it, but towards the end of the
Never
series,
unfortunate.
towards the end of the series, Angela is crying. Dwight's comforting her. And she goes, "I feel so stupid." And Dwight says, "No, monkey, you're not stupid. Jazz is stupid." And to which she says, "Jazz is stupid. I mean, just play the right notes."
I love that.
And as a jazz major, it's my favorite quote ever.
I love
And
that.
Aaron can tell you that was season 9, episode 7, about 12 minutes in.
I don't know. It's season 8 or 9. It's towards the end.
That's awesome.
But man, yeah. Love that show.
That's
Love
awesome.
that quote.
It's amazing.
Man, I quote The Office often.
You do.
I do.
There's a
It's-
lot of Office quotes
I
coming
might
from
have a
Aaron's
problem.
office.
I love that. I love that.
So, all right. Well, thanks again, guys, for joining me on the Pastor
Absolutely.
Speak
Good
podcast.
times.
Get to hear a little bit more about you, Micah.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing your heart for ministry and even for Blue Valley. Glad to have you here. Thank you, Jonathan, for being a part of it.
Always. Love it.
Too. Cool. Well, until next time, go serve your King.
Make it happen.